Yes, there we go. Thank you, Keith. Aqua Teen Hunger Force. I guess we could probably have a round of introductions now that I think pretty much everyone is here by now. So my name is Dave. I'm actively involved with the New Jersey chapter, and I guess we can run down the chart, run down the list right now. So I guess Seth, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Seth, the one of the New Jersey state coordinators.
Dennis, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Dennis and I'm coordinator for Slovenia.
Go ahead, guys. Anybody.
I am Julio from Connecticut.
Doug, good evening. It's James. Talked a couple weeks back about coming on a radio address, so thanks a lot for coming out this evening and joining us. Really do appreciate it. As a coordinator for New Jersey also, and a little bit of software, trying to get into software development, so kind of computer savvy.
I have a massive amount of respect for somebody who does software. I always say to friends of mine who do it, it takes a special breed of psycho to want to stare at code all day long. And I love the tools you create. I could not possibly contemplate sitting in front of a computer and doing what you do, but massive props to you.
Thanks. Fortunately, some of the stuff that I've developed in the past hasn't really helped society too much, but working on that.
Damn can flicker worm.
Malak. Okay. Okay, I already introduced myself. I'm Michael from Trinidad and Tobago. And I would like to ask Douglas a question. Um, are the ideas of the Zeitgeist movement gaining any ground in NASA?
Wow, that's an excellent question. Specifically, I would say no. I don't think anybody has really brought it to their attention as an ideology, as the way it is right now. Now, the tenets of what the Venus Project stands for, which is, of course, what the Zeitgeist movement advocates. So I often default right back to the core, which is the Venus Project. You know, to me, the Zeitgeist movement is the movement that, of course, advocates the Venus Project. So I'll divert back to the Venus Project in most cases because that's what we're all promoting here. Um, the tenets of the Venus Project in as sustainability, reusability, things of that nature have always existed in NASA because space exploration requires it. If you don't have reusable, sustainable systems in space, people will die. You cannot live in that environment without reusable, sustainable systems, mainly because of the cost of constant resupply of sending up buku loads of supplies on a regular basis is prohibitive. It's also energy prohibitive in fuel costs and things of that nature. But that's why NASA has always been on the forefront and is primarily one of the main reasons why we are technically capable of actually, you know, doing what we're planning on doing on the earth, is having all these sustainable systems, these clean energy, this renewable energy, advanced materials, things of that nature are have all primarily been derived because of space exploration. So I would say that NASA is very much aware of the technical aspects of what the Venus Project is all about without having to actually be aware of the Venus Project, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah, I get it, but I think I was trying to ask really, I don't know what's the situation up there, but so this question might not be specific, might not really reflect the situation you're actually in. But is it possible you can get the ideas across to them? Have you tried to do that? Forgive me if I don't understand how this would work.
It would be very difficult, and the reason why, not that I don't want to, I mean, let me put it this way. I talk to my coworkers about it all the time, and they, you know, they understand where I'm coming from and what it's all about and things of that nature. But you got to remember, I don't work directly with NASA. I don't work for NASA. I work with NASA, and there is a slight difference. NASA is a very convoluted organization, and it's very politically motivated, especially these days. When it first started, it was political, but it was driven by the scientists and the engineers to get to the moon and beat the Russians. That was the political part. It was the scientists and engineers that put everything together and set up the organization and got it done. Well, things have kind of changed, and now the politicians are the one driving everything, and we all know that they suck anyway. So they're driving the scientists and the engineers into the dumps. And so NASA right now is going through a very difficult time. And when you say NASA, people think about the meatball, what we call the meatball, the NASA logo and all that, the circular logo. People don't realize that there are subcontracting companies, there are contracted companies and subcontracting companies that work with NASA. It's not just NASA that does everything. So, for example, NASA works with USA, which is the United Space Alliance. The United Space Alliance is a special company that is basically 50-50 Lockheed Martin and Boeing. And that was built a long time ago so that the two major aerospace players at the time didn't monopolize all the work. Then you've got Boeing and Lockheed and Northrop Grumman and other orbital sciences and other major companies in the aerospace industry that are primary contractors. Then they have to give a certain percentage of their work to subcontractors. So that's who I work with. I work with a subcontractor. We all work in the same building and do the same stuff. But the reason why I'm giving you this long-winded explanation here is so that people understand that I don't work directly for NASA, so it's not like I can go talk to them on a regular basis. I work in the Boeing building with the Boeing people, and I interface every once in a while with a NASA person, but not directly. Even if I did work there, let me say this. The odds of me promoting the Venus project to NASA would be the effectivity of me doing that would be pointless. It wouldn't work, and here's why. NASA is a government entity. You cannot talk politics or anything like that at work in a federal organization like that. So even if I did bring up the Venus project, there is no way that the NASA organization would support it. Now, individual members of NASA, sure, you can talk to anybody anyway like that, but you will never get an official stance or any kind of shift by NASA to promote or advocate the Venus project because for all intents and purposes, it is a socio-economic political movement by its nature, by what it is, and they won't sign off on anything like that.
Okay, so I understand what you were saying. So moving away from NASA now, should the Zeitgeist movement, who advocate the ideas of the Venus Project, should we try specifically to target scientists? I mean, I know we have to target the general public, but advocate this to scientists?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That's the best way to go. Instead of going when you're talking about if you want to reach NASA or kind of passively reach NASA, reach out to the employees, to the individual people, to the scientists, to the engineers on a case by case basis as individual people, and then kind of go from there. So yes, without question, go try to talk to scientists, talk to university professors, because especially in the engineering and the sciences, they are scientists. They have to do research at the university. You're usually working on research projects and things of that nature, and they teach as kind of a side note to their job. And so reaching them, contacting them on a case-by-case basis is definitely more beneficial than trying to go the organizational route.
Okay, thanks.
Doug, I had one question about when we do reach out to scientists and professionals that would be, crucial to the Venus project. How would we go about that? Do you have a couple professional organizations in mind that you personally, as one person, you don't have the resources to contact an entire list of people, whereas as three, tri-state chapters, we would have the resources to help you and the project as a whole out with that. So perhaps do you have any suggestions about who and where to look?